COSATU, long live. Long live SACP, long live. Long live SASCO, long live. Long live SASCO, long live. Long live COSAS, long live. Long live COSAS, long live. Long live COSAS, long live. Long live the NCU League, long live. Long live the NCU League, long live. Long live President Mkebo Dlamini, long live. Long live President Mkebo Dlamini, long live. Long live President Mkebo Dlamini, long live. Long live President Patrick Mulawa, long live. Long live President Patrick Mulawa, long live. Long live, long live. Long live, long live. Long live, long live. Long live, long live. Amanda. The leadership of the African National Congress in Johannesburg, Comrade Julius. Now, Comrade Julius, I formally met you a few weeks ago. I've been knowing you as an activist from far. Now, there's something that bothers me, comrades. Many comrades refer to Comrade Julius as a crowd man. And at the center of the problems of the ANC Youth League, Ilama Krotman. So, Comrade Julius, we hope that now that you are an REC member of the ANC Youth League, of the ANC in Johannesburg, you are not going to be one of those destructive and toxic Krotmans, but you are going to be our Lord Star and our guide as we navigate through tough times as this ANC Youth League. Comrade Bruce, Program Director, the zonal leadership, Comrade Tabang, I see Comrade Mtolo, who they refer to as our pillar of strength in Gauteng. I don't know what that means. Leaders of branches of the ANC Youth League. Comrade Chair, before I get to the crux of the matter and deal with the topic which you have requested me to come speak about here to the young people of Thomas Nkobi branch, I think I owe these young people a sincere thank you, Comrade Bruce. On behalf of the leadership of the ANC Youth League, that despite the fact that the ANC Youth League is going through the most difficult time in its entire existence, you have still not given up on this brand, the ANC Youth League. It is not in many instances that young people can leave all that they were supposed to be doing on a Friday night to come and spend their time on something they do not value. I believe you are all here today, comrades, because you value the ANC Youth League. Yes. Despite the fact that, Comrade Bruce, these young people elected us to lead them, but we have become their oppressors. Today, these young people must praise us for them to lead branches. As the leadership of the ANC Youth League, we have taken another posture. We have subjected young people to be our slaves, such that if they do not agree with our thinking, we use something which we call the audit to frustrate them. These young people who are here have said, despite the fact that you comrades, we gave you a mandate in 2011, we gave you a mandate again in 2015, to say start implementing an electronic membership system such that when we want to join the Youth League, we don't have to look for a person called the secretary and have to beg him. We did not implement that as the NEC, but we are still here today, comrades. Thank you very much, comrades. But comrades, thank you is not sufficient in the revolution. It is your ANC Youth League, it is mine as much as it is yours. It belongs to the leadership as much as it belongs to you. I am saying this, comrades, to you because it is no longer a secret that in less than 2 months we are going to a national conference of the ANC Youth League. When I say less than 2 months, I see Comrade Tabang getting irritated. It will happen, Comrade Tabang, be patient. But now, comrades, as we go to that conference, as I said earlier, that this is the most difficult time in the life of the ANC Youth League. We are faced with two choices. Those choices were made clear by President Peter Mokaba, one of the best presidents of the ANC Youth League, when he handed over the baton to Comrade Lulu Johnson. He said the Youth League faces two choices: to adapt or die. As you go to that conference, comrades, I say to you, you are facing two choices: to fight or perish. The choice is yours. If you choose to sell the soul of the Youth League, if you choose to sell your soul to those with money, to the highest bidder, it is a choice you would have made yourself. It is a choice history and posterity will judge you for. If you choose to stand up for the truth, if you choose to stand up for revolutionary morality, if you choose to say this ANC Youth League of Mkolisi Majombos, this ANC Youth League of Anton Lembede, this ANC Youth League of Congress Mbata, this ANC Youth League of Stanza Bupape, this ANC Youth League of Ellen Kuzwayo, this ANC Youth League of Ronald Lamula, this ANC Youth League of Malusi Gigaba, of Fikile Mbalula, and many other great activists cannot die as long as I am alive. There are many young people who are giving you that choice, comrades. The choice is yours, comrades. To sell your soul or stand for the truth. To mortgage your soul and the ANC Youth League or stand for the truth. Those are the choices that are facing you, comrades, as you will be starting to prepare for PGMs in less than 2 weeks. Now that's a choice you must make, comrades. It's a very difficult choice. But if you love this ANC Youth League, you will know which choice is correct and you will do that, comrades. When I was invited by Comrade Bruce and the leadership of the branch, comrades, they said to me, I must come and speak to you about the 4th Industrial Revolution. And I was very happy, Comrade Bruce, to be invited to this branch, which is named after the longest serving Treasurer General of the ANC, Comrade Thomas Nkobi, who was the teacher of the ANC for 21 years. Comrade Thomas Nkobi was also a former youth leader, comrades. So it is very important that we are here today. We are here, comrades, to speak about the so-called 4th Industrial Revolution, which has made an impact on our lives in many different ways, comrades. But most importantly, Alexandra, to us we must be speaking about how will this 4th Industrial Revolution, or so-called 4th Industrial Revolution, affect me and you, the impoverished, Africans in particular, and blacks in general. Comrade Uchiliti Marwala, who is an expert of artificial intelligence, has written many articles on the topic. And one of the things he says to young people when he speaks about this 4th Industrial Revolution, or so-called 4th Industrial Revolution, Comrade Chiliti says, we must make sure that we train more scientists and more engineers from Africans in particular and blacks in general. Konamazo disrupt discrimination less than the 4th Industrial Revolution. And he always makes an example. He says that he's got a gadget, and that gadget cannot properly recognize his surname. And it cannot recognize that surname because it was programmed in America. So if we have scientists and engineers, people who can do programming from Alexandra, Soweto, Tohoza, Phosphorus, and many townships, we will ensure that those gadgets which will be used in this so-called 4th Industrial Revolution, comrades, can recognize our surnames properly. Now, Makabane, this matter is very important. I think that is why we are here today. We have many reports telling us different stories how these things will affect us. One of those things which it says is that 47% of the workforce today will be irrelevant in 10 or 15 years to come. It means that in 15 years' time, your traditional lawyers, as you know them today, will no longer be as relevant. Comrade Ndise, I know that you enjoy the prestige of being called an advocate. In 20 years' time, you will be replaced by robo-lawyers or robo-advocates. Then you will not be a factor. When we want to take the youth to court, we'll not go around begging you. We'll just give a robot and tell it, and it will tell us what to do. In 20 years' time, comrades, all those who are accountants, all those who are CAs, will no longer be as important as they are today because of this fourth industrial revolution. It is said that 85% or between 60 and 85% of the careers that exist today will not be there. So if you are starting today, comrades, you are in your early 20s, you are saying that you want to be a teacher or you want to be an engineer, you must be mindful of the fact that from time to time you will need to do what we call continuous professional development, because more figure 40 years of age, you will not be having a job. So at least 50, they are left with 10 years, they can still work. That is what this theme of the fourth industrial revolution is about, comrades. But comrades, I was saying to you on many occasions that I call it the so-called fourth industrial revolution, because as the African National Congress Youth League, we're an organization, we're a political formation, we're an organization with an ideological outlook, Comrade Bruce. We're an organization which has got principles. And when you define things or when you call things, they must always fit neatly into the theory that guides you as an organization. So our understanding of what a revolution is as the ANC Youth League, I argue very strongly that it is not consistent with how capital understands it. And I say the ANC shortchanged us when it prepared for the policy conference and the national conference to call this year's or this wave of artificial intelligence a revolution, Comrade Bruce. Our understanding of a revolution as revolutionaries and especially activists of the ANC Youth League is that it is a change in social, political and economic relations. It is a change of power, exchange of power from one class to another. Revolutions come as a result of many things, comrades. Failures of government, economic collapse, and revolutions are at times between two classes. And Comrade Bruce, I don't see this so-called fourth industrial revolution fitting neatly into how the ANC Youth League defines a revolution. So in my view, comrades, I do not think it is sufficient to call this thing the fourth industrial revolution. It is change, it is capital reorganizing itself. How is capital reorganizing itself? It is reorganizing itself to maximize its profit. How is capital maximizing its profit in this instance? It is squeezing out workers. That is what the fourth industrial revolution is going to do, amongst many other things. Those who understand the theory of price, value, and labor by Karl Marx will properly understand that labor is a serious driver of cost in the value of product. So if you take away labor and replace it by machine, you have dealt with a sufficient amount of what it costs to produce products. But it does not mean that the products will be cheaper. And in essence, what will happen is that the profits the ruling class makes will have increased. So for us as Africans in particular the working class, this is not a revolution, Comrade Tabang. Capital is reorganizing itself to maximize profits. But then what do we do for us to respond to this thing? Because, comrades, revolutions are not about speaking, they are not about commenting, they are about responding to concrete realities. That is what revolutions are about. What do we need to do, comrades, for us to find our place in this fourth industrial revolution? What do we need to also call fourth industrial revolution? What do we need to do for us to find our correct place in this re-engineering of capitalism in the world and South Africa in general, comrades? One thing we can't run away from, comrades, is that it is here and it is here with us. The first thing that we need to do, comrades, we must go to school, comrades. And as we go to school, we must make sure that we prioritize science, technology, and engineering. That's the root of the matter. Because this re-engineering of capital, Comrade Tabang, will be mainly fought through understanding programming. It will mainly be fought through understanding the mechanics of robots. How do robots work? And the people who understand robots, comrades, are people who are experts in information technology, in engineering and computer sciences. That is the reality that confronts us, comrades. And this thing, comrades, also affects our methods of struggle. You know, Comrade Tabang, when we wage a struggle, we grew up understanding the first thing we were taught when we joined the organization is that the working class is the most revolutionary class. And the working class becomes revolutionary because it can bring capital to its knees by withdrawing its labor power. Now, computer comrades, robots. I mean, if for you, we are going to have a driverless car. If for you to pack things, you are going to have a robot that will be packing things. Will striking be impactful? It will not. Those of you who are students, we know most good when we want to decrease food prices, when we have problems of comrades who are excluded academically, at times, we go on strike. If you are doing online education, will a strike be that impactful? It might not be. So this really affects how we know the class to be. This really affects methods of struggle of both the ANC Youth League and the ANC. And the only way for us to be able to disrupt this so-called fourth industrial revolution or re-engineering of capitalism, comrades, is for us to have a deep appreciation of its mechanics, for us to have a deep appreciation of the science, for us to have a deep appreciation of the computer technology which is used to advance this revolution, comrades. And comrades, this fourth industrial revolution poses a serious threat not only to the working class. I made an example, or to the lower levels of the working class. It's going to affect South Africa very grossly, because the reality of the matter is that we have many young people in South Africa who do not have matric, who are struggling to find work. We have many young people in South Africa who did not access higher education, partly because of costs and some because they were not committed. Now, if those people, a person who could not complete matric or didn't complete matric for this or the other reason, is expected to compete for a job in that system which has re-engineered itself, we are going to have serious problems. So we must, comrades, as the ANC Youth League Comrade Tabang, start an aggressive campaign of going back to school. We must make sure that when November starts, when September starts, as we celebrate the anniversary of the ANC Youth League next month, we go house to house, we look for our peers who did not complete matric to go and complete matric, comrades. Comrades, the reality of the matter is that this fourth industrial revolution is going to cause us income inequality, Comrade Tabak. Not only going to cause it, it's going to increase it. I mean, we're already the most unequal society in the world with a Gini coefficient of almost 0.67. If we allow this re-engineering of capitalism to be in full swing, and we don't, as a revolutionary organization, as a revolutionary and militant youth formation called the African National Congress Youth League, respond properly to this thing, comrades, we are going to see ourselves as a perfectly unequal society in the world with a Gini coefficient of 1. And that is the most undesirable thing we want to see in this country, comrades. If we do not, comrades, prepare properly for this fourth industrial revolution, we are going to see youth unemployment, which already stands at 70%, growing to above 90%, comrades. That's the reality that confronts us. So as we deliberate on this matter of the fourth industrial revolution, as we also call fourth industrial revolution, it's important, comrades, that as the ANC Youth League, when we go to the next conference, we must assist the ANC conceptualize this thing properly. We must tell Comrade Enoch Godongwane and Comrade Jackson Mtembu, who was chair of the communication subcommittee, that this thing is not a revolution. It is just capitalism re-engineering itself to maximize profits. That is what we must do, comrades. But as we do that, we are not going to assist them by only labeling it. We must also assist them with solutions of preparing our people properly such that they respond to the concrete realities that will be brought by this re-engineering of capitalism. I think, comrade, that in a nutshell, or in the shortest way, comrade Bruce, considering time, I had written something which I can leave with the leadership of the branch for them to entertain, comrades, and to take the discussion forward. This is what this so-called fourth industrial revolution is going to be about. This is what we must prepare for, because we are, comrades, the future. No one else is the future. Comrade Enoch Otomani is not the future. Comrade Jeff Katenowet's policy is not the future. They are marching to the grave, comrades. That's what they are. It's natural. At their age, you are preparing to die, comrades. So the point that we are making is that this is our program, comrades. It's a political program. When Comrade Koko said that there is no youth voice, this youth voice is not needed to insult anyone. This youth voice is not needed to be a lobby group of a particular faction. This youth voice is needed to prepare for things like this. This youth voice is needed to fight youth struggles. This youth voice is needed to fight for young women who are subjected to having sex with men in power, for them to get jobs and get businesses. This youth voice is needed to fight for the comrades. Comrade Kashoko spoke about that. They are raped on a daily basis. This youth voice is needed to fight for the unemployed young people which we see in the streets of Alexandra every day. We need this youth voice, comrades, to say Comrade Mkebo was not supposed to be walking alone today. He was supposed to be walking with the more than 500,000 young people who could not access higher education because of the cost of higher education. We need this youth voice, comrades, to ensure that we stop the use of nyawupe in our townships. We need this youth voice to reduce the infections of HIV/AIDS amongst young people. This is why we say we need a youth voice. We need to go to the upcoming national conference with clear consciences to go and revive the ANC Youth League of OR Tambo and Mkolisi Majombos. If we do not do that and choose to sell it to the highest bidder, we would have failed the majority of young people who watch the sun rise and set in townships, who are subjected to taking drugs on a daily basis. So, comrades, the future of the ANC Youth League is in your hands. The future of the ANC Youth League is in your conscience. It will be determined by what you do when you get to Nazareth, when the conference sits in less than 2 months. Amanda!